because nature revolts. Revolt because nature revolts. Because nature revolts. Because nature revolts. Revolts because nature revolts.
The time is coming now for the human race to face the bullshit that they put out, and we're all going to be out in the streets, hopefully together, united, black, white, yellow, green. Until they're dead. And we will all be dead in the process anyway, because water will be a luxury. We will have water wars, so we will be fighting over the water. The time is coming now for the human race to face the bullshit that they put out, and we're all going to be out in the streets, and we're all going to be out fighting for the same cause against this fucking country that caused total destruction around the world, and use wars as a fucking game against the innocent, against children, against peasants. Nothing's changed. It's been peasants. Get rid of the rulers.
Revolt because nature revolts.
my eyes, culture is disappearing around the world, and mainly because of television, other iPods and cell phones and things occupying our world with everything but make your own. And the handmade art, to me, is much more interesting than the computer art these days. I can look at a lot of computer art all day long, but I don't feel anything about the computer art. So I continue to make my old school kind of style of painting. And in the painting, okay, that's my salvation for meditation, for peace, love, and understanding in the world. But it's all in my head when I'm painting, and there's nobody around. And there's chaos all outside my door. But still I continue to keep painting. And this is the true way to go. I mean, the path of creativity, I mean, this is the only way to get through the world. I mean, anything opposite or minus this theory of the path of creativity would lead me to just total death zone, a void, a black hole. Yeah, I started making art when I was about 1 year old. And I guess the actual thing I painted was when I was 3 years old, some duck or something. But from that point on, I continued to always paint, until I reached Hoboken and did a Channel 9 special of one of my art shows there. And I started showing my work around New York around 1980. And Moon Dance Cafe, which is not there anymore in Soho, okay, that was my first show. And I continued to go like that for a while till about 1983, and then I met Mary Boone and Leo Castelli, and I lost a lot of interest in art after that. Didn't like a lot of the artists they were promoting, although David Sallie and Schnabel were okay, but there was not a lot of inspiration for me from the Soho point of view, so I continued to stay in the Lower East Side. In 1980s, there was kind of a mafia running within the galleries. It was a who's who. If you didn't know the galleries, you probably didn't get into the gallery. My favorite gallery was the Fun Gallery, and there was a lot of artists coming out of there. She was quite clever and inspiring. And there was a lot of corruption back then. There was a lot of what we have today, only even more. I find a lot of the new art kind of washed out with no message. The new kids are making photographs of strawberries, a photograph of shoe with snow on it. And so I continue with my messages. I do have political messages running in my artwork. It's not like I'm trying to combine the two. It's inevitable when you have political surrounding and you have no choice. You must make political, because everything you do then is political. Okay, and most of my art over the years has developed into a multimedia thing. I couldn't just make painting alone. I had to combine it. I had no choice. I mean, that's where the world is going, multimedia. So I combined it with film footage, and now with music, which I was a musician for many years, Missing Foundation. Now with Missing 7 Hazard, our new project, which is an environmental, or a project about the environment. Water wars, nature revolt. I mean, after the water goes out, of course, art, music, and culture is going to become obsolete, and survival will take over. But I'm going to continue with my dream state of being an artist in this world. And so to continue to show the kids that the computer is not the answer. Here's an example. We make our own recycled covers. And this is from Nature Revolt, and this one here is the first album and the second album, Missing Foundation. But when you look at the kids today, they're burning up the environment with all the plastic. So I thought the paper was, this is the answer. Recycle, use paper, forget the plastic and the commercialism. And this is more heartfelt, and this is a piece of art in itself. I go in the record stores, I'm bored right away because it all looks like generic. Everything looks generic. Of course, the sound is not generic. But with art, painting is still alive and well. Some people say it's dead. I don't think so. Painting is alive and well. There's still a lot more to be done with painting. Of course, we had the Renaissance period. We had many periods like Dali, and many other artists came along. Van Gogh, for example. I mean, these people are hard. They're hard to beat. But if the art is coming from inside you, and it is coming from you, it is a real piece of art. It doesn't matter when you made it, what year you made it, or what time it is. It's now or tomorrow. This piece of art is real if it's coming from you and you didn't copy it. And most of the new generation is just copying, and they got a long way to go to find out where their real inner soul is. And the only way you can find that is with your doing it by hand. Okay, I'd like to discuss the Nature Revolt album that we released. It's a DVD film. It's about 14 new tracks that we've been working on. And in the Nature Revolt album, there is a lot of beauty, a lot of innocence, a lot of naivety, a lot of 60s concept revival for love, love, love. There's a lot of statements about big cars. There's a lot of statements about the water, the air, the soil, and the food that we eat every day. And if there was a message that I could possibly push across in music today, love would probably be the only one I could come up with, because there's so much hatred and destruction in the world that I would say that our love, love, love will stick in your head forever. And one of the accomplishments of the Nature Revolt album, which is quite different from the electronic scene of Germany, for example, is that we put a message on top of progressive electronic drum and bass, listenable music. You can hear the vocals of what I'm saying there, and the vocals are subliminally pushed into certain areas of the album, but most of it would be considered instrumental. And I didn't really say anything on that album unless I had something important to say. And the main goal of the album was to bring awareness of the light, that we will go into light on the Island of Light song, and that the wind will probably push us away if we are dreaming or in a dream state. And I think the people that will be standing still are the real artists in the world, and the rest will be blown away. The Global Warning single was released in England from the Nature Revolt album, and it's a lot about the pharmaceutical pills. I mean, if we're all going to take pills for everything, I mean, there is not really any chance if you're going to come up with something creative in your brain. I would say it's dulling the youth, and if they can get off the pills and not take a pill for a headache and not take a pill for any reason and let the body repair itself, maybe you will come up with a great painting. But getting high on pharmaceutical pills, your paintings are going to look like mud. And I noticed the music is starting to feel like mud, look like mud. When you hear if they're on Wellbutrin, Depakote, Zyprexa, Oxycontin, or any of these drugs like Prozac or that, it's okay, if you really need the pills and you think they work, that's all in your mind. That's only the surface of the problem. One thing we've found out about art is, let's take street artists, for example. They're kind of on the surface, don't want to be known or famous or whatever. They're always hiding. But then all of a sudden you see an art show with like $10,000 price tag on their dripping art, street art. And so it was inevitable that street art, Banksy, many people coming up on this time, finally came to roost, because street art was always a valid visual art. If you're a real artist and you're putting it on the wall, nobody can deny that that's a piece of artwork. I never denied anybody writing their thoughts on the walls of New York. I always felt that was a form of art, a form of freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Everything that was put on the walls of New York, I would have to say, is a piece of artwork. And the only thing I don't like is bubble letters. I find that to be very boring. The kids are getting more clever. They are coming up with logos, and they are putting subliminal messages all within their work now. I hope the next generation, from the year 2008 on, starts to put more messages into their paintings, their art, and their music. Two more radical statements from the album of Fighting for Your Lives and Global Warning. The Fighting for Your Lives, we've seen this in magazines, and we don't really want to be fighting for our lives, technically. Although you'd have to be aware as an artist of how much more time do we have to make art, I mean to afford to make art. And so there is the streets, you can find all materials on the street. So if you don't have any money and you need a paintbrush, please cut a little corner of your hair off and tape it with duct tape onto a stick, and now you got your paintbrush. The only thing I learned as an artist was never give up. Once you give up, you cannot get really back on track. As each year passes by, you fall farther and farther behind. So never give up, and never give up the path to creativity. This is the only answer. This is the true answer, and my answer to the world, and my only path. Without creativity, there's no life. Without art, there's no life. And so, everybody should pick up a guitar, and everybody should pick up a paintbrush. And now's the time to create. Now in this time of history.
Have a nice night.